As a species, we are hardwired to survive. We frantically build walls to protect ourselves, hoard resources to ensure our comfort, and constantly play defense against a world that feels incredibly hostile. This biological instinct bleeds into our daily lives. We spend our days chasing wealth, aggressively securing our futures, and carrying the exhausting weight of worrying about tomorrow. But perfectly following that survival script creates a strange psychological vacuum. Even when we accumulate everything we're supposed to, we are left with troubled hearts and a deep, unquenchable internal thirst. Jesus of Nazareth addressed this condition by calling for a complete overhaul of the human spirit. He spoke of a new birth, a transition that breaks the logic of the default human operating system. He argued that accessing genuine, lasting peace requires us to abandon our survival instincts. To find life, we have to embrace a series of deeply uncomfortable, counterintuitive paradoxes. The first major inversion in this framework tackles how we view power and wealth in what you could call the upside-down kingdom. In our normal reality, status is defined by how many people serve you and how much authority you manage to accumulate. Jesus presented an opposing mandate. He pointed out that even he, the ultimate figure of authority in his teachings, came not to be served, but to serve others, and ultimately to give his life as a ransom. Look at the top path. Anyone who exalts himself guarantees his own humiliation, but the downward curve, radical humility, arcs upward to true exaltation. The financial logic is the same. What does it profit a person to gain the entire world but lose their soul? This brings us to the second inversion, the paradox of self-preservation. The ultimate contrarian rule states that if you try to rigidly hang on to your life, desperately guarding your own interests, you will lose it. Saving your life requires different action. It means turning from selfish ways, metaphorically taking up a cross, and undergoing a complete spiritual rebirth. Within this framework, true security isn't found by building thicker walls. Enduring life is acquired through complete and total self-surrender. When conflict happens, our immediate, logical instinct is to fight back, retaliate, and hold a grudge against anyone who wrongs us. The upside-down kingdom demands a countermeasure. You must love your enemies. You do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, and pray for the people who spitefully use you. Total forgiveness becomes the mechanism for your own spiritual freedom. If you hold anything against anyone, you must let it go. Forgiving others is the prerequisite for receiving heavenly forgiveness for your own sins. The golden rule goes beyond passively avoiding harm. The command is active. In everything, you must treat others exactly as you would have them do to you. Curious, which raises a central question. Why doesn't this level of vulnerability just get a person destroyed by the real world? It works because Jesus is operating on the physics of an entirely different reality. As he explicitly stated to his captors, "My kingdom is not of this world." We see this alternate logic in action during his arrest. If his kingdom were of this world, his servants would have fought with swords to prevent his capture. Instead, they stood down. This new dimension also provides an alternative resource. Everyone who drinks from the well of worldly success will end up thirsty again. But the living water offered in this kingdom becomes an internal spring, permanently satisfying that spiritual thirst. When you view these teachings through that lens, they stop sounding like irrational sacrifices. They are logical actions when you are operating under the physical laws of a different spiritual dimension. Living in this framework requires a specific daily mindset. You have to seek the kingdom of God and its righteousness first, prioritizing it over all immediate material concerns. The primary psychological benefit of this shift is the cessation of anxiety about the future. You stop worrying about tomorrow, realizing that tomorrow will bring its own worries, and today's trouble is enough for today. This shift toward mercy and service changes the way a person acts. As an individual stops focusing on self-defense, they are free to let their light shine, performing good works that others can see and recognize. By intentionally abandoning worldly metrics of defensive power, hoarding, and revenge, an individual gains access to an untouchable internal peace. But Jesus also provides a reality check. Adopting this framework does not eliminate worldly trouble. In fact, in this world, trouble is guaranteed. Yet the final promise of the text holds firm. Viewers are told to take heart despite the chaos. Because by trusting this paradoxical framework, you align yourself with the one who has ultimately overcome the world.